Thank you, Matt. Continuing coverage tonight of that massive brawl at a bar in Troy over the weekend. A group of local pastors is now calling for the suspension of the officers involved and the resignation of the police chief. 6 police officers were hospitalized following the melee at the Kokopoelli's bar, but it's the 5 people who they arrested that say those officers used excessive force. Jennifer Lewke sat down with the Troy police chief today, and she joins us now with more. Jen?
Well, Liz, Chief Tedesco is standing by his officers, and he says there is no way he's stepping down either. He says his officers felt like they were in a life or death situation, and they used the force they needed to be able to get a hold on the crowd. The African American Pastoral Alliance sees the whole incident much differently. While the Troy Police Department continues to investigate whether officers used an appropriate amount of force to get this situation under control, the chief believes most of the community has lost focus on the incident itself.
Do you think that that's more what this has turned into, less about an incident between the cops and the people at the bar and more about a race issue between the community and your department?
I think that's what they've turned it into. You know, the question I asked, does it really matter to a police officer when you walk into a situation where you're outnumbered 15 to 1, the color of somebody's skin, when you've been assaulted with garbage cans, bottles, you've had a fire extinguisher sprayed in your face, okay? Does it really matter? These officers couldn't have cared who they were. They were fighting for survival in there. All right? And, you know, we'll make sure that what they did was appropriate.
The police chief told me that his officers would have handled that situation the same whether the room was full of white people or full of black people.
No comment. No. I'm not going to answer that.
But Pastor Willie Bacote, who led a very emotional
We're demanding for the resignation of Chief Tedesco
and heated community meeting discussing this very incident Monday night did answer.
We're not blanketing Troy Police Department as being bad. That's not true. There are certain individuals on Troy Police Department that make the department look bad.
The pastor says the 5 men arrested in connection with this case do accept some responsibility for the alleged wrongdoing that brought police to the bar in the first place.
We accept our responsibility, but we do not accept the fact that it got to the point where people had to be beaten. We do not accept that.
The Reverend getting on a soapbox, if you will, has done absolutely nothing to help the relations between the police and the minority community. And quite frankly, I really don't think they're that bad.
We are upset. We are angry. But you don't see us calling anybody to arms. Well, we're asking people to remain vigilant. We ask people to remain intelligent, respectful, and to remain unified, because we will get to the bottom of this.
The chief says the only way to do that is likely to bring in an outside agency.
No matter what we find, they will accuse us of doing a whitewash, okay? So I think our officers may be best served by having an outside agency come in to do that.
Now, the city is still deciding who it will ask to conduct that investigation. We, of course, will stay on this story and bring you updates as we get them. Live in studio tonight, Jennifer Lewke, CBS 6 News.